Good evening, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now, on today's episode, I was in the gym and I was doing the Continental clean and press with the axle bar. Now, the reason why I'm doing the Continental clean and press, which is a style of lifting, is because that's the common movement to do in Strongman. Typically, you'll see that like on the World's Strongest Man on television. You'll see that they use an axle a lot of the times in order to climb that up their body and to press it overhead. Now, before the barbell was created, which is perfectly calibrated, has rotating ends, has knurling, and has an easy to hold diameter where your fingers can wrap around the bar, that barbell was made to be lifted. And before that, people basically had to use a pipe or use everyday objects to lift things. And so the Continental clean and press was the only way to get that up your body and up to your shoulders from the ground, because it wasn't perfectly calibrated like a barbell is to do an Olympic clean or an Olympic snatch. But in my opinion, the Continental clean and press is a lot better for building strength, explosiveness, and athleticism better than a barbell. So let's pop into today's workout and I'll explain the reasoning why. So on today's giant set, I was doing the Continental clean and press as I stated earlier, which is basically using a 2-inch pipe and working it up my body in this manner and then pressing it overhead. And the plan was to hit a bigger number today than I have in the past without having any equipment on. And for the giant set format, I was going to be doing these half Turkish get-ups, where you cut the Turkish get-up in half and you just focus on that movement back and forth. And that's really going to work your obliques, but it's also going to work your shoulder mobility, which is what I need to improve as I'm going up in the weight on the axle. And I'm also going to be doing the assault bike as well. This is a great exercise to do if you want to get some extra conditioning in. It gasses you out pretty quick. And that's going to be the giant set for the day. Now, back in the early days when Strongman was developing, it was typically from jobs. Whether you were a lumberjack and demonstrating your strength on a log was one way to determine who was the strongest lumberjack. If you worked out in the boats and you had to carry crates and cargo off the boat, people could tell what was heavy and how hard it was to do the movement. And sometimes there was a couple guys who could lift those implements better than 4 men put together. And when one of these men would hear about another man who was equally as strong as he was, then they would test out that strength by having competitions, whether to carry crates off a ship, who could do it faster, or who could lift a log and who can lift the heaviest log, or stones. And in the bar at nighttime, they would often demonstrate feats of strength using a circus dumbbell or using some type of implement like this axle Continental clean and press, where they'd have to take an implement from the ground and have to get it and press it over their head. And that was how people determined who was the strongest individuals back then. And in my opinion, not only is this the ultimate feat of strength, it's also one of the best workouts you're ever going to get, because you're working your anterior and posterior chain, your legs, your abs, your shoulders, and your chest, and your triceps and your arms are all getting a big burn trying to hold that weight onto yourself. Now, I do apologize. I was trying to get a good shot for a short and my camera fell over and my dummy self didn't even notice that it had fallen over. This is 230 pounds and it was very smooth. Last time I hit 210 pounds for 3 singles. So this is the most weight I've done since my surgery. So I was very happy and pleased with how well this went, even though I screwed up the camera angle. And for my variation giant set, I was doing 4 rounds. And I was switching over to the dumbbells because I truly believe that the dumbbells are a great way to build shoulder stability from that seated position. So I really enjoy doing this to work out the shoulders and to get a better pump to the shoulders after doing my strength set. And what I was doing was I was just taking my dumbbells that I just lifted and then I'd walk about 20 meters around the gym and then I'd start over and do the assault bike, and that was going to be the variation giant set. Now actually Eddie Hall likes to reverse the motion and do on his shoulder days heavy dumbbell lifts, or he'll do like for 3 sets of 20 and really try to get his shoulders nice and pumped and big, and then he'll move over and do his strongman movement or his main overhead press. He believed that that was the best way to build shoulder strength and stability. But for me, I like to just start with the strength, which is my typical strongman overhead pressing movement, and then I like to work the dumbbells. And I won't be able to get as heavy as I could if I was fresh, because my shoulders are pretty shot from the strength giant set. But doing this still gets a really good pump and is able to build that shoulder strength. So I still like doing these in this order versus the Eddie Hall way. But I actually got the idea from Eddie Hall. So Eddie Hall, if you watch my channel, I really appreciate the idea, and it has improved my overhead strength greatly. So I appreciate that. Now these are the 70s right here, and I was just going to burn out at the very end. So I've been doing 6 reps all the way up, and I just decided I was going to try to go to 10. And that ended up being the perfect number actually, because I got super tired super fast. And I was able to squeeze out a few more reps to the very end. You can see I'm really struggling here, but it went. And I was very pleased of hitting a new PR since my surgery, and then also hitting like a new rep PR with these dumbbells. And by the time I was done, I had no blood in my shoulders, so mission accomplished. All right, so there you have it. Hopefully everybody learned something new. We know a little bit more about strongman history and where the Continental clean and press came from, and maybe you want to try it in your own gym. Until next time, thank you.